Fox 5 and Hot 97 present Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers.
Right now, reaction pouring into my exclusive jailhouse interview with Vybz Kartel.
I'm still in disbelief. I'm shocked by the entire thing.
I find it pretty incredible that you were able to secure that interview.
The imprisoned dancehall king speaking out for the first time in a decade.
I hope you're hearing me.
Yes.
It's dark. It's hot. It has like 3 or 4 bunk beds. It's got a toilet in the corner, and it's got a huge grill. Lots of metal. It's like a dungeon, but it's instead of being in the cellar, it's in the attic. I'm actually in the roof.
Taking his fight for freedom in an all-or-nothing appeal to the UK's highest court.
God save the Queen, because she's the only one that can save me now.
It's a special episode of Street Soldiers. Vybz Kartel, the voice that will not be silenced.
Big up the world boss. Big up Lisa Evers, Fox family, Bobby Connor's Massive B family. I already know.
One night recently, I got a shocking phone call. Adidja Palmer, better known as Vybz Kartel, was on the line, wanting to set the record straight. He's been behind bars in a Jamaican prison for 10 years on a murder conviction, a crime he insists he did not commit. This is his story. Vybz Kartel is many things, an incredibly prolific artist in the dancehall reggae genre who's managed to dominate the music scene despite being locked down. He's a charismatic entertainer whose nickname World Boss hints at the respect he's given on the streets. He's a champion of the poor and a convicted murderer whose claim from day one he was framed. His talent, drive, intelligence, and wicked wit have never been in question. Now the only question is whether his last legal appeal to the highest court in the UK will determine he was convicted based on falsified phone evidence. A lot is on the line. He could be a free man by 2022 or an inmate for 30 or more years. It's enough to send anyone into depression, but not Vybz Kartel.
I hope you're hearing me.
Yes. As you look around the cell that you're in right now, can you describe for us what that looks like?
It's dark. It's hot. It has like 3 or 4 bunk beds. It's got a toilet in the corner, and it's got a huge grill. Lots of metal. It's like a dungeon, but it's instead of being in the cellar, it's in the attic. I'm actually in the roof.
You say you're in a better place mentally than physically. A lot of people would find that hard to believe.
Yeah, because I was sick for a few years. So definitely I'm recovering physically, but mentally I've always been in a good place because I know I'm innocent and I know I'm coming out.
Do you really believe that?
Yeah, of course I believe that. And to be totally honest, the system really wanted me thrown away. It was never about me being charged for a murder. It was about getting rid of Vybz Kartel, not Adidja Palmer, the person.
Why do you say the system is out to get you?
Because they told us, they say we have too much influence. If you remember when Movado and I had that little feud a few years ago, we even went to King's house, which is like the home of the Prime Minister. And they were telling us that, oh, we're leading the kids astray, and if we don't stop what we're doing, we're not going to get any permission to do shows and stuff like that. So it has always been about the influence that Vybz Kartel has.
The dancehall music genre, like gangster rap, does not shy away from lyrics that talk about guns and street violence, as well as sexually explicit content. How do you keep your spirits up in prison?
That's a good question. That's why I said I'm more mentally in a better place because I read a lot, I write a lot. You know, I watch movies, I listen to music, and I've met people here that are cool, like cool people that we can talk about stuff. You know, good friends along the way. So that's how I spent my time.
You've had a lot of songs come out since you've been incarcerated. About how many songs have you written during this last decade that you've been behind bars?
Lots of songs. I can't even count. At one point, I was sending out like 3-4 books a month because when I write the songs, I usually send the books out when I get visits. Thousands of songs, really. And I know all of them are not going to be able to get released maybe in the span of my career, but you know, I just keep writing and writing. It makes me better.
Are you concerned that the conditions there are going to impact your health?
I'm basically just thinking about going home now because everything is drawing to a close, so I'm not really worried about my health as much. I'm doing much better, you know, so It's all good.
Kartel's attorney, Isop Buchanan, filed a fresh evidence appeal based on the findings of a British digital expert who found that his cell phone had been tampered with prior to his trial. It's expected to go before the Privy Council, second only to Queen Elizabeth in authority.
Yes, God save the Queen, because she's the only one that can save me now.
That interview garnered attention from around the world, and now we're releasing more of his phone call that's never been heard before. Vybz, there's been a lot of talk in Jamaica, like there has been in the United States too. There's always the talk here of the effect that lyrics have, the lyrics and the music and hip hop have on violence in the streets and gang activity and that type of thing. Same kind of discussion, it seems, happening around dancehall, around the music in Jamaica, what's happening, you know, with some of the young men in Jamaica, that type of thing. Do you think the music can affect people's behavior in a negative way?
I mean, music can affect behavior and make you more, what should I say, more aggressive. But all the studies have shown that you get the same aggression from watching a football match or watching your favorite team win. That's the kind of aggression that music gives you, energy to party, to dance. But if it inspires people to kill, hell no, I don't buy that. I don't believe that, because gangsters are a minority, and judging from the fame of dancehall, people who are not gangsters listen dancehall as well. People uptown, teachers, lawyers, doctors. So why doesn't it influence them to kill? You know, so I think violence just comes from a low socioeconomic background, lack of education, lack of opportunities. That's the real problem, not dancehall or hip hop.
Right, the conditions
that's my opinion too. It's not a fact written in stone, but that's how I see it.
Kartel remains firm in his belief that the evidence will prove him right. Coming up, the man and his music.
Honestly, I'm still in disbelief. I'm shocked by the entire thing, because honestly, we haven't heard from Vybz Kartel in over 10 years. This is a really historic moment, something that the Gaza nation will never forget.
We'll hear more from Vybz Kartel and hear what industry insiders are saying about her interview. Welcome back to this special episode of Street Soldiers and my exclusive interview with Vybz Kartel, the man and his music. Even though he's behind bars for a murder he claims he did not commit, he's kept his throne as the king of dancehall music and kept his head up no matter how ugly things got.
I have to, because I know they want to destroy me. And if you know, Lisa, that somebody wants to destroy you, that's where they're going to get their pleasure from. No, you have to be on top of your game. You have to constantly be proving them wrong. So I think the haters are as much an influence to me in prison as the fans are. That's kind of how I stay strong, and for my kids and my mother.
Me kill that longer than me night. Tell me what you like, you want me try.
In 2009, a couple of years before he was incarcerated, Vybz Kartel's hit song Rompin' Chop with dancehall superstar Spice hit the top of the Billboard charts and crossed international borders, catapulting both artists to a new level of fame. Its success brought hundreds of thousands of dancehall lovers from around the world to Kartel's growing fan base called Gaza Nation. In their eyes, he's the king, period. How do you decide who's king of the dance hall?
In dancehall, it's the influence that you have, the dominance that you have, the power that you have to be able to put people on, to destroy people if it's necessary, musically. That's what the king is.
Kartel's latest album reached #1 on the Amazon music charts even before its official release date. It's streaming in top slots across all platforms like iTunes. His influence continues to grow. It's so incredible to me that you stay so positive behind bars. Have you always had that attitude of being grateful no matter what the circumstances?
When I was growing up, I didn't know I was going to be rich. I grew up in the 80s. I thought rich people were rich, poor people were poor. That was it. It couldn't change. So I have to count my blessings to see that it can really change, you know? And a lot of people have that mindset too, thinking they're nothing or they're nobody. That's a terrible mindset to have. So me beating that mindset, getting the opportunities that I got, I have to be grateful.
This is the first time in many years anyone has heard Vybz Kartel speak out publicly, and the dancehall community is reacting. Joining us now, Wiz and Shakira. They are co-hosts of JA Radio TV and premier dancehall analysts. They study the culture, they know the music, and they know what everyone's talking about. Wiz and Shakira, great to have you with us on Street Soldiers.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
First of all, your reaction to the Vybz Kartel interviews that we had, where he was speaking out for the first time in about a decade about how he feels about what's going on with him and also his music as well. How do you guys feel about that?
Honestly, I'm still in disbelief. I'm still shocked by the entire thing because honestly, we haven't heard from Vybz Kartel in over 10 years. This is a really historic moment, something that the Gaza nation will never forget. Believe me.
Yeah, it was really good to hear from him. And as everyone's saying, it's good to hear him after so long. I would have really loved to see him. I'm really hoping that, you know, he's out soon and we're able to actually see him in, you know, living color, where he can actually go through, you know, details of what he's been through, what the time spent in prison has been like, and, you know, what's next for him.
Now, he hasn't spoken out until we had the interview with him, but he has been producing a lot of music. Have you all seen a change in his style of music? Because it's somehow he seems to be able to stay connected with what the current trend is and what the audience likes.
So that's the thing about Vybz Kartel. He's actually behind bars, but he's behind bars, but he's dictating the trend.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually conform to the trend. He's actually dictating, setting the pace. So he's actually maintaining his relevance. Yeah. So believe me, he only, over the years that I've known him, he's just been getting better and better, constantly improving.
Yeah, and as you see now, he's bringing his two sons into the music. So he's gonna leave a legacy behind, right? And his lyricism is not changing. His talent is not changing. I mean, and he is very adaptable as well. We know that the sound changes a bit, and he has always been able to produce what the people want, what his fans need.
And make those hits. And Wiz, when you say he sets the trends, can you give us some examples of why you say that?
So pretty much the younger artists, they will come out with a sound that's unique to them, but Vybz Kartel doesn't try to follow. He actually comes out with a brand new sound of his own. Every year, his style changes, his flow changes. Yeah. So he's constantly setting the pace. And because he's creating hit songs, he's actually forcing other artists just to follow his pattern, his blueprint.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a leader, definitely the king in my mind.
And Shakira, what about in terms of this? We're also starting to see the dancehall influence growing in the hip hop culture as well and creating something entirely new. What do you see happening there?
Yeah, I mean, more and more hip hop artists are sampling dancehall. We've seen it with Drake, Nicki Minaj recently. Even Cardi B has put out a lot of videos. I mean, they're listening to dancehall more, and we like that, right? Dancehall is being pushed to the forefront. I mean, it's always kind of a genre that's pushed to the side and in a box by itself, but I appreciate the fact that more and more people are listening. One of the biggest collabs we heard is before XXXTentacion passed, Vybz Kartel was on that song with him, and everyone was talking about it. Everyone was reacting to his verse. It was crazy. And we've seen it also with TikTok, social media right now, all the young folks. So it's good that more and more people are listening to dancehall, and I'm hoping that it grows and that, who knows, we can get a genre of our own in the Grammys and, the bigger award shows.
Still ahead, Kartel's legacy includes thousands of unrecorded songs. He also has a strong connection to hip hop.
Authenticity reigns supreme in both cultures. So hip hop and dancehall are predicated on being original, being authentic, being in tune with the people.
You'll hear about that when we come back. Welcome back to this special episode of Street Soldiers on Vybz Kartel. Busta Rhymes and Tory Lanez are just two of the hip-hop artists who've collaborated with Kartel. Their song Girlfriends was a show of support for the imprisoned dancehall superstar.
Let it go, girlfriend. Bang and touch your toe, girlfriend. Now all my chicks everywhere, hands in the air.
It also featured Beanie Man, Ninja Man, and Bounty Killer, who've all played important roles in Vybz Kartel's life and career. There's a fundamental connection between dancehall and hip-hop, like cousins in the same family. Joining us now to talk about Vybz Kartel is Chuck Creekmer. He is the co-founder and CEO of allhiphop.com. Chuck, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
First of all, in terms of dancehall culture and hip-hop culture, do you see any similarities?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of similarities between hip hop and dancehall. First of all, you have to look at the origins. Kool Herc, who's given credit as being the founding father of hip hop, is from Jamaica and brought his talents, his ingenuity from Jamaica to the Bronx, which gave birth to hip hop as a full-blown culture. And the sound clashes and the battles, and there's so many similarities, it's ridiculous.
When I spoke exclusively with Vybz Kartel, I asked him about which new hip-hop artists he respected. In terms of artists that are out now, are there artists, dancehall or other forms of music that you're paying attention to?
Yeah, man, I love, in the hip-hop, I love Polo G. He's bad.
Okay. No, he's very...
Pop Smoke was the man. Pop Smoke was on his way to being like a true legend.
I think so too.
Those are my two favorite rappers in America right now.
Authenticity reigns supreme in both cultures. So hip hop and dancehall are predicated on being original, being authentic, being in tune with the people. And Polo G is one of those young artists that's got a lot of talent, but he's also true to some of the roots of hip hop, some of the principal rules that we carry from each generation. So for Vybz Kartel to be interested in him says a few things. One, that he's got his ear to the street. He's very tuned into what's going on. And not only that, he has an ear for talent.
They call Vybz Kartel world boss for a reason.
Vybz Kartel's music clearly still dominates the dancehall space.
His music stays trending. It stays on the charts. Top streaming artist out of Jamaica.
That's next. Welcome back. We're talking about Vybz Kartel and his music. Let's discuss this with pioneering reggae and dancehall DJ Bobby Condors, who knows him well.
Rhythm called the Pandora, brand new Vybz Kartel alongside Elisha and Chia. Hot 97, New York City.
You want me know that you want my body.
Condors has been bringing the Caribbean heat to hip-hop audiences with his partner Jabba on Hot 97 for more than 20 years. He's even produced Vybz Kartel songs with his Massive B record label. He says they call Kartel world boss because of his influence and reach.
Vybz Kartel, his music stays trending. It stays on the charts. Top streaming artist out of Jamaica with his latest project called Born for This, with some big hit dancehall songs. Biggest fan, More Than a Friday. You already know Kartel dealing with the ladies and dealing with the rude boys, so you already know he's covering the bases globally, from Kingston, Jamaica to Brooklyn, New York. People globally. You have guys, fans all around the world. Nigeria, Ghana, Japan, all through the Caribbean, all through the States.
Robbo Ranks is a legendary UK dancehall and reggae DJ and radio host. He gives us this perspective from London.
Vybz Kartel's music clearly still dominates the dancehall space. The fact is, other artists out there are making noise, carving out their own lanes, doing their things, but Kartel still makes better records than the rest. That's just the fact. He's still making better records, clearly making better records. And look, no major label behind him, no commercial radio, no big budget PR. This is all driven by his fan base. He still has a massive fan base in Jamaica and in the Caribbean locally, and even bigger outside of the islands. I mean, here in the UK, Europe, and even, I mean, the numbers don't lie. I mean, his numbers in Africa is ridiculous. That's where he has the eyeballs and the ears in East Africa, West Africa. I mean, there's places in the continent of Africa which is like, don't play. It's fully Gaza. that's their DJ. And, you know, dancehall is very fortunate to still have Vybz Kartel's output.
In the months ahead, it will be up to a high court in London to decide if Vybz Kartel was framed for a crime he did not commit or if he is guilty. The justice system will decide. Thanks for joining us for this special episode of Street Soldiers. I'm Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. Let's push for peace, love, and justice for all.